Good morning, seventh graders. We're going to create a foldable today together to start to introduce lesson 5, which is simplifying algebraic expressions, or in other words, it's called combine like terms. To do this, you need a few things. So first off, you need a blank printer sheet of paper, and that was given to your teachers, your crew teachers. And if you're not in person and you're virtual, then you also could use a blank printer sheet of paper, or honestly, if you just have lined paper, that will work as well. Also, you're going to need 4 different colors. So I'm going to use 4 different colored highlighters. I'm going to use green, blue, pink, and yellow. It doesn't have to be those colors, but you need 4 different colors. If you don't have highlighters in 4 colors, maybe some colored pencils, 4 different colored pencils colors, and you're going to write with pencil, or pen is fine as well, but make sure you have those supplies ready to go. So printer paper, 4 different colors, and then pause, right? Make sure you have everything in front of you, and we'll come back and we'll get going on this foldable. Okay, so let's get started. You're going to take your printer paper and hot dog fold it like this. Okay. And as soon as you hot dog fold it, you're going to write on the front cover, and this can just be in pencil or pen, you're going to write combine like terms. So the lesson itself is called Simplifying Algebraic Expressions, but again, the other way to look at it, and what you'll hear more commonly, is combine like terms. As soon as you have that written on the front cover, you're going to open it up. And we're going to work on the left-hand side first. So we're going to talk about the steps that you should take to combine like terms. So I use this to introduce the lesson. Mr. Whalen actually will go through and teach the lesson, the rest of the lesson today with you. Once you get used to understanding how to combine like terms, if you feel like this method in this foldable is something that you don't need and you're getting more comfortable using combining like terms, then that's fine. Again, this is more of an introduction to help you get started on combining your terms together. So on the left-hand side at the top, we're going to write to combine like terms. And we're going to list some things. All right? To combine like terms, we're going to start with a number 1. So we'll go through the steps first, and then we'll apply those steps over on the right. Step number 1. Draw lines in front of each add or subtract to separate all the terms. Period. Draw lines in front of each add or subtract to separate all the terms. So when I go through this with you at any point in time, if you need to pause the video, you know you can do that to catch up on your writing. Number 2. Color all like terms the same color. Color all like terms the same color. Number 3. put each group of like terms together. Put each group of like terms together. Last one, number 4. Simplify each group into one single term. Simplify each group into one single term. Okay, those are the 4 steps we're going to follow. And so now we're going to start to do some examples on the right-hand side. And I'm going to write my examples with my pen, again, pen or pencil. Write your examples that way. And then you're going to use the colors here shortly to color code. So on the top at the right here, we're going to write examples. Number 1. Okay, so let's start with n plus 4n minus 7n minus 1. So that is considered an algebraic expression. One thing I'm going to talk about before we start following these steps to combine like terms is at the very beginning of the chapter when we started to look at expressions, anytime you have a variable by itself like this and you don't see the value, the number in front, it's always a 1. So I'm going to have you put a 1 in front of that. You need to make sure that you understand there's always a 1 in front of a variable that's standing alone. When we combine like terms, it's super important that you see that because that will help us combine the terms correctly in the expression. So let's look at step 1. Draw lines in front of each add or subtract to separate all the terms. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line here after the 1n. I'm going to draw a line here after the 4n. And I'm going to draw a line here after the 7n. So what that did is it's showing me all 4 terms separated. 1n is a term, positive 4n or adding 4n is a term, subtracting 7n is a term, and subtracting 1 is a term. There's 4 terms in this expression. Okay, number 2, color all like terms the same color. So I'm going to pick a color right now. I'm actually going to pick yellow. And my like terms are the terms that have the same variable next to them. So 1n plus 4n minus 7n. Those are all like terms. Again, it's because they have the same variable, the n variable, next to each value. So I'm coloring those all yellow. I'm color coding. Now, the only other thing in the expression is this minus 1. And that doesn't have a variable next to it. So remember, that's called a constant. And I'm going to color this one a different color. I'm going to use blue. And again, don't feel like you have to use the same color as I am. That's fine. Just make sure that this last value here, this minus 1, which is the constant, is a different color. It's not considered a like term with the other ones that we highlighted yellow. Number 3, put each group of like terms together. So I'm going to take my yellow highlighted N terms. And what I'm going to do is draw this box like this in the same color. And inside that box, I'm going to group together these three terms. 1N, positive 4N. Now I can put a plus 4 in there, probably would help. And this minus 7N. Now, that minus, that subtraction sign in front of that 7N is making this negative. Anytime there's a subtraction sign in front of a value, that value is negative. So this is a negative 7N. When you see that subtraction sign in front of a term, it is a negative term. Okay, I'm now going to draw the same color that I colored that -1 or that -1. I'm going to draw that color box to group it. And inside that, I'm going to write that -1 or -1. That subtraction sign in front of it means it's negative. So that was step number 3, putting each group of terms together. Step 4, simplify each group into a single term. Okay, so what that means is I need to combine these terms so I only have one term simplified. So I have 1N plus 4N. That is 5N. 5N plus -7N. Positive 5 plus a -7. Positive 5 plus a -7N. Positive 5 and a -7 give you -2N. Remember your integer rules. Subtract, opposite sign, subtract. You take the sign of the larger value. 7's larger, it's negative. -2N. This is simplified now. All three of these N terms are simplified to -2N. This -1 or -1, it's all by itself. So you can actually write this two ways. You can say plus -1, or you can say -2N minus 1. I'm going to box this in. This was step number 4 that I just completed to combine like terms. So understand either one of those answers is correct. Anytime there's a subtraction sign in front of a value, it is negative. So -2N minus 1 is the same exact thing as -2N plus a -1. It doesn't matter which way you show it. Both of these answers are correct. Okay, so pause if you need to catch up on this first example, and then we'll do a second example. Okay, let's try a second one. Number 2, 2G minus 3 plus 11 minus 8G. So step number 1, draw lines in front of each add or subtract to separate all the terms. So I'm going to separate 2G. I'm going to separate the -3 or -3. I'm going to separate the positive 11. And then also separated is the -8 or -8G. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms again in this example. Number 2, right? We're going to color all like terms the same color. So I'm going to stick with my yellow here. And I'm going to highlight all the terms that have a G. So 2G and -8G or -8G. These are like terms right here. My next set of like terms, use blue again, is going to be this -3 or -3. This is a constant. And the plus 11, positive 11. That's also a constant. I'm coloring those two blue. Those are grouped together. Okay, I'm going to start in number 3 with that direction that says put each group of like terms together. So I'm going to draw that yellow box. And inside that yellow box, I'm grouping together the 2G and the -8G. Okay, blue box. I'm going to group together -3 and +11. All right, step 4. Simplify each group into one single term. Okay, +2g, -8g. Opposite signs subtract, sign of the larger value, -6g. -3 plus 11, -3 plus 11, +8, so +8. Final simplified answer to combine like terms. You combined your g's together using your integer rules, and you combined your constants together also using your integer rules. All right, we're going to try another one on the back side. So when you're all set with number 2, you're going to turn over to the back and we're going to do a third example. Okay, last example, number 3. So this will be the last one that we do. We're going to write this problem down. 5x plus 4 plus 9x plus 7y plus z. So I made this one a little bit longer on purpose, but that's okay. We can do this. So we're going to follow step number 1. All right, we're going to draw lines to separate each term. So 5x is one term. We're going to draw another line and separate the +4. We're going to draw another line and separate the +9x. We're going to draw another line and separate the +7y. And then lastly, this +z, I'm going to put a 1 in front of it, remember? That's +1z. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. Okay, so we're going to color code, right? Step number 2. We're going to color code the ones that are the same. So I'm going to use my yellow, and I'm going to color code the x's. So the 5x and the +9x. And while I have my yellow highlighter in my hand, I'm going to get step 3 also in here, which is taking and grouping those in that same color box. So I drew a yellow box, and I'm going to group together 5x and +9x. Okay, next, I'm going to take blue and find the next variable. I have y's, and there's only one of them. It's a 7y here, and that's it. So again, while I have my highlighter in my hands, I'm going to draw a box, and I'm going to put in there 7y. Okay, I'm going to pick another color. So this time I'm going to use pink, a third color. And I'm going to highlight the 1z. So I'm going to draw a pink box. And group that 1z. And I still have one left. So this is why you needed 4 colors. This +4 right here, +4. All right. So I've grouped together my x's, my y's in blue, my z in pink, and my 4, my constant, in green. So now the last step is just combining like terms and simplifying. So my x's here, 9 plus 5x is going to give me 14x. And guess what? I don't have to combine anything else in my other variables or my my other terms, because there's only one in each one. So I'm just going to put down +7y plus 1z plus 4. Oops, there's the bell. Sorry about that. So final simplified answer for combining like terms, 14x plus 7y plus 1z plus 4. So we're done with the foldable here. Use this if you need to throughout the rest of the lesson today with Mr. Whalen. He's up next to go through some book pages with you.